According to Wikipedia, life skills are abilities for adaptive and positive behavior that enable humans to deal effectively with the demands and challenges of life. What better time to talk about the same than the difficult and challenging times that we are in the wake of the pandemic? Times are unprecedented. Times are uncertain. Times require us not just to be high on IQ, the intelligence quotient, but also on EQ, the emotional quotient, SQ, the social and spiritual quotient, and the latest one being AQ, the adaptability quotient. Today, I, Bandanpreet Mahajan, a communication and life skills coach and a youth skill mentor, would like to render my exposition on the topic life skills, matters of the head and heart, explicitly through this esteemed forum. So let me begin with what Caro Dweck of Stanford University once opined. We can't carve people up. There isn't the cognitive person, the emotion person, the motivational person, the social person. All these co occur in the brain. It is up to us how we unleash them at the required time and instance through several light bulb moments, as we call them. As working professionals, we often get a chance to display some life skills which in turn are directly proportional to our wealth, success, and contentment in life. Let us now discuss some of them here. Let's see actually if you can guess the life skill which I'm going to be discussing here. Let's take a situation. Shreya and Priya are two colleagues at a placement agency. They just can't stand each other one wee bit. One day, Priya comes late for work. Shreya thinks it's a good opportunity to get into the good books of the boss and complains about Priya's late coming to the boss. Obviously, this lands Priya in trouble, who gets reprimanded by the boss. Infuriated, she comes out of the boss's office and has a big fight with Shreya. A big scene is created in front of all the employees of the office. Can you guess what were the life skills that both of them were lacking? So, as far as Shreya was concerned, I think she lacked empathy. She was not at all good at maintaining interpersonal skills. Both of these come under the purview of social skills. Did she for once put herself in Priya's shoes to evaluate and analyze why Priya must have been late to work? Was it some family emergency? Was it some medical issue? Or just a simple traffic jam? What if she would have been late for work and Priya would have complained about her to the boss the way she did, just to earn some brownie points? Now that was sheer lack of empathy on the part of Shreya. As far as Priya is concerned, she lacked the skill of conflict resolution. Is there a better way she could have handled the situation? Well, the answer is yes. For one, Priya should have remained calm and should have well been aware of her emotions. She should not have reacted but responded, and that too to the problem first and then the person involved. The problem in this case was coming late for work. She should have understood that therein lay the problem, and she should have promised to herself that she would be punctual to work always. Also, she could have made Shreya sit down with her, wherein she could have had a face-to-face conversation. There, she could have assertively, firmly, but not rudely, told Shreya that her action was not appreciated and that she actually needed to mind her own business. This also requires the use of another set of skills, life skills called critical thinking skills. Priya could have actually gone back to her workstation. She could have analyzed the problem, planned her strategy, including what to say and how to say it to Shreya. She could have even jotted down a few points before what she wanted to say and could have even rehearsed the same once before going in for the actual dialogue. This requires her to work on her communication skills, one of the most sought after skills these days by any prospective employer. She needed to understand that conflict in workplace can only be minimized and resolved, but not totally done away with. Aristotle was absolutely right when he said, anyone can become angry. that is easy. But to be angry with the right person, to the right degree, at the right time, and for the right purpose, in the right way. Now, this is not within everyone's power and is not easy. But to add to this, I can say that though it may not be easy, it is not impossible. It can be achieved through practice. It requires Priya also to work her ability to manage emotions, consensus building, handling peer pressure, and advocacy skills, all of which come under the ambit of negotiation skills. In context of this, HR professionals from around the world use 5 major styles of conflict management in accordance to the Thomas Kilmann Conflict Mode Instrument, popularly known as TKI. These are collaborating, competing, avoiding, accommodating, and compromising. Now let's quickly move through these one by one. So the first style is the collaborating style. This is the opposite of avoiding style and is in fact a combination of the assertive and cooperative styles as the name suggests. For instance, if 2 departments are to be merged into one and you want the best of both the departments, and even as you ask them to work together, we use collaboration. Here, both the long-term relationship and the outcome are important. In other words, it's like co-creating a solution which is well received and supported by all. The second style is the competing style. This style is used when the relation is not important, but the outcome is. Here, people are assertive but not cooperative. For this reason, it is never used inside an organization, but yes, 2 competing companies vying to grab the market share for their output and seeking more clients for themselves do use it. The third style, avoiding style. This style is adopted when the discomfort of confrontation exceeds the potential reward of conflict resolution. For example, one may avoid conflict with a co-worker if you know that you're going to quit your job very soon. It's also called the delaying tactic, but remember, if used too often, it would end up having too many conflicts unresolved for you, and others may actually even stop asking you for your inputs while important decision making. So, this style has its own uses and misuses, therefore you should use it cautiously. The fourth style is the accommodating style. Herein, one party usually gives in to the demands of the other simply because they are cooperative but not assertive in order to avoid disruption and preserve harmony. As an example, say there are 2 girls, 2 colleagues at the same call center, Nisha and Namita. Nisha gets along pretty well with all her co-workers except Namita. Namita has a very strong personality. Namita wants to swap her night shift with Nisha's morning shift. This she wants to do by taking undue advantage of Nisha's accommodating nature. Nisha is not happy with all this, but still she gives in to Namita's whims to keep peace at workplace. The last style is the compromising style. This is partially assertive and partially cooperative. In easy terms, everyone gets something and no one gets everything. As simple as that. This is based on the perception that compromise splits differences. It is also called the lose-lose method because everyone is required to make some sacrifice or the other. This is usually adopted when both the parties reach a deadlock kind of a situation. So I hope all these strategies and skills that we've discussed with you today will aid your success and growth in your personal and professional life. Stay safe, be happy, till we meet again. Goodbye, good luck.